everyone, how are you guys tonight? I'm so sorry I'm a few minutes late. I'm scrambling to get a whole bunch of stuff done tonight. So you guys are live here on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook and Instagram pages. My name is Brandy. I am the owner and artisan behind Brushed by Brandy. I'm a Dixie Belle Paint brand ambassador, and I paint here live with you guys every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, so we are here live. My husband, Sean, is behind the camera. He's going to be reading your comments to me as we go. So pop on and ask any questions that you guys have. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to be using some Silk all-in-one mineral paint tonight. So let me know if you guys have used Silk and what you guys think. We're going to be dressing up these huge chests that are behind me. And I've got a few ways that I'm going to be, adding some interest to this finish that I think are really cool. So stick around. We're going to do some painting tonight. We're going to do some decoupage. We're going to do some raised stenciling, a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
Sheila was worried about you, by the way.
I'm sorry, Sheila. Here's the deal. Daylight savings. So, well, yeah. I guess the sun just goes down earlier right now. That's what it comes down to. It's a long story. It's furniture related. I can only take my photos of my furniture pieces in the evening. That's the best light in my workspace. It has the least amount of shadows. Trust me, I've tested this. If I do it in the morning, I get weird shadows, or it's really orange light. So I take my photos as it gets to the evening. As we get to daylight savings time, it's getting like shorter and shorter window that I have. So it was like my light was just right as I was going live. I took my pictures in about 5 minutes, but I got it done. So I needed to get right as I was going live. I took my pictures in about 5 minutes, but I got it done. So I needed to get that done, and I got it done. So I'm going to be working on these, and I have 2 of these. You guys can tell from the scale. These are huge pieces. I guess they would be considered, they could be a nightstand. If you had a massive room and a nice tall bed, these could be nightstands. These would be good in like an office space. You know, I could see them with like a printer or something on them. You could put them in an entryway, but they're really, really big.
I'm very confused. What if you're just small?
Well, yes. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Not like Willy Wonka or anything.
So the thing I was having a hard time on is I have 2 of these. If I should do them in the same finishes, I need them to go fast because they're so big. I don't want to store them. That's the thing. I just need them to go. So I want to make the finishes just really universal and kind of neutral. Nothing too crazy. We're keeping it simple. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and we're going to put some silk paint on these. So let me show you guys what I have underneath this that I got these prepared for. How I prepared for this. So this drawer right here is from its sister piece, which is the other one in this set. And I went ahead and used Slick Stick on these. And I used Slick Stick as my base because I want to use Silk all-in-one mineral paint. So Silk, which is Dixie Belle's all-in-one formula, has a built-in stain blocking primer. But anytime I question the adhesion, I go ahead and I will use Slick Stick. These are solid wood. I probably could have just scuff sanded really well, but I kind of took like the lazy man's route and just put Slick Stick on them. It's overly cautious, but I will always err on the side of caution, and it was also just like I would rather put on a coat than scuff sand the whole piece. So that's what I did. They're fairly modern, so I'm not worried about bleed through, but Silk does have a built-in stain blocking primer. So even if I was worried about bleed through, this would be a great paint to use because this has that primer in it. So I could get away with just a few coats of this will block most bleed through. There are some really stubborn pieces. You may still need a stain blocker under them, but I'm not worried about that. In fact, here, let me show you the inside of this.
Can you spray silk?
Yes, you can. It sprays beautifully. This is the inside of the drawer, and this is the finish that was on the entire body. It's very glossy, but these are solid wood. It's a really nice set, and they're in really good condition. They have a lot of pock marks in the original finish, like distressing. It had kind of a hand scraped look, like maybe someone.
Perfect for Halloween. Like somebody's trying to get
out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe someone's trapped in a drawer or something.
Those are really small people.
I'm pretty sure that happened. No, it's got these. So I'm going to leave those, and I'm actually going to emphasize them with some waxes. Okay, you guys, the color that I'm using, I've never used this color of silk before, and I don't know why, because it might be my new favorite color. It's like Stormy Seas. I thought it was going to be a lot more gray, but it's got a lot of blue in it. I'm super loving it. This is Wharf. This is the color Wharf, and I feel like on Ashen, grab me Stormy Seas. It's in the middle with the blues. I'm going to hold it up next to Stormy Seas, all the way at the end. Any one of them. That was bubble wrap. Nobody just got shot in my workspace. I stepped on some bubble wrap. Might have some wood you've been shipments. Okay, so I'm going to hold these next to each other. And Stormy Seas is a lot more blue. It's a lot darker. But I don't know, they're pretty similar. Like when I put this on, I feel like they're more similar on. In the container, I see more differences between the two. But I feel like this is picking up a lot of blue.
No, Sheila, Wharf. Didn't you say Wharf, not dwarf?
Yeah, not dwarf.
Not little people.
Well, it's because you got them stuck on the whole Willy Wonka thing. Now they think that Dixie Bell's
you said Alice in Wonderland.
Dixie Bell's naming their paint colors about, you know, tiny people. Can you hand me a rag behind you?
Oh,
I know. It's because I was taking pictures. I'm ill prepared tonight, and most nights for that matter.
I'd say I left her at home.
All right, you guys. So I've got my slick stick on here. It's nice and dry. I'm going to take one of my Dixie Belle sanding sponges that's well loved, and I'm going to give it just a light sanding, just a brush. It's not even a sanding because I don't want to break the barrier of the slick stick. The whole point is to leave the slick stick intact. To help my paint adhere, so I don't want to break that barrier, but I just want to knock it down so it's nice and smooth. And I mean, I love these things. I use them probably between every coat except for my final coat. I just give it a light brushing with that sanding sponge.
Nevada, bless your heart. She thought that was me up there, the bobblehead.
Yeah, it does look a lot like.
I know she was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, looks a lot like.
But Sean. Maybe not.
With the butterfly collar shirts and everything. That's what he looks like behind the camera. You guys just can't see it. All right, so I'm going to lay on my coat of silk. This feels nice and smooth. I like a damp brush, and you guys are going to see I like a little bit of water with my silk. A little bit. It has a tolerance. It's a low tolerance. It's not the same as the chalk mineral paint. I'm not going to douse my surface, but I like to just add a little bit just to help my brush glide. I'm not diluting my paint. It's just a little bit to lubricate that surface. And it helps my brush glide.
Sorry, guys.
So
camera's gonna get shaky because that thing irritates me.
What was that?
That's your charger.
Oh,
the end of it.
Oh, sorry, because I was filming a video here last night. I needed to.
What?
Oh, don't ask me. Don't ask about those videos. Those were those hours of my life. Hours. You guys will find out soon enough. Soon enough. Some fun stuff coming up. So I try to lay my silk on pretty quickly. Make sure I get my brush strokes nice and smooth. I'm just going to work small areas at a time. I'm using my Dixie Belle Mini. You want to use a synthetic brush with the silk. A natural bristle brush will tend to leave a lot of brush strokes and texture, which is great if you want brush strokes and texture, but on this one I don't. I want a nice, smooth, even finish on this. I'm going to get up underneath my drawer. And then once I have everything covered, I even come back and I'm just going to smooth out those brush strokes, make sure all my strokes are going the same direction. Using a super soft hand, I just feather them out.
Different strokes for different people.
One stroke. This is one stroke for silk. Everyone should have the same stroke for this. I'm going to get up underneath this drawer. All right. So I try to work in smaller sections with silk. It can be more difficult if you're doing a larger surface, like going across the top of a dresser or something. A roller is great for applying silk. It can leave a light texture, but if you do a few coats, it tends to even itself out a little bit more. On the first coat, you'll see a lot of the roller texture. And then from there, you know, it usually takes 2, if not 3 coats sometimes to get your paint how you want it. Tends to even out a little bit. All right, once I've brushed a section of silk, I try to leave it alone. It starts setting up, and if you go back and you keep brushing over it and over it and over it, it's going to start getting sticky. And then that's when you start really getting the brush strokes in it. It kind of has all this distressing in the wood, so I'm making sure that I get paint down into those. I don't want those left the wood color or my slick stick showing through. And I'm not going to get the coverage that I want on this first coat. I'm going to show you guys the second coat too. So from here, I just want to make sure that I get my whole piece covered. And it covers pretty well. I know that my second coat on this is going to for sure give me the coverage that I want. And then I'm going to get the top of my drawer back here too.
And then you just have tiny spots, obviously, in the crevices.
On that side?
Yeah. Well, you can see it from this angle.
Oh, up underneath?
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, there they are. It's much easier when I'm not trying to block the camera and I can just turn this drawer any which way that I want. So that looks pretty good. All right, so that'll be my first coat over my slick stick. And I don't have full coverage. I've got some spots that are a little thin, but when I come back and do that second coat, that's going to give me the coverage that I want. So where this piece is right here, the one behind me, has one dry coat on it. So I'm going to pull out this top drawer right here and I'll show you guys. These have really big, cool, chunky hardware. They're really cool pieces too. I mean, I had to go pick them up, but then once I got them home, I was like, oh my gosh, those are 10 times bigger than I thought they were.
Well, that's what happens when you send your husband to go pick them up.
Yeah, he just brings home whatever I say, like, go look at this and bring it home. And he brings it home, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're big. They're really cool. They're really well built. They're in really good condition. I have no complaints.
That just means I listen well.
Well, you know stuff to look for. So stuff I teach Sean to look for when he's picking up a piece. Open the drawers, you guys. Take the drawers out. Look at the glides. One of the biggest problems I see is problems with drawer glides. And drawer glides can be expensive if you have to replace them. They can run $10 a piece. So you got to think if you're picking up a 6-drawer dresser and you have to replace all 6 of the wooden drawer glides, if you just paid, I don't know, $150 for that piece and now you've got to put $60 into glides. Hardware is another thing that can be expensive to replace if you have to replace all of your hardware. So these are things to just keep in mind when you're looking at pieces that you're picking up. Is look for these problems up front. I don't know if you take a drawer out, you can find out if you have to rebuild a drawer box. Sean loves rebuilding drawer boxes, right? So those are 2 big issues he knows to look for if I send him to go pick up a piece. I don't know, really bad, hard repairs. Oh, odors, cigarette smoke, like, you can block it in with Boss, but odors are probably one of the toughest things to deal with, because I don't care what anybody says, it's always there, and that just may be me being oversensitive. So cigarette smoke, pet urine.
My all-time favorite is when big pieces have tiny legs.
Yeah.
The Achilles heel of the piece because somebody went back to try to repair it. And, well,
yeah, when they've got
they should have just left
those
it
little
broken.
tiny legs, but the piece is big and bulky, those legs are always vulnerable. So check the legs, make sure they haven't been repaired at any point. Those are some of my favorite things to look for, though. All right, so I just did a light sanding, and same thing. I can run my hand over this, and I can just feel the little bit of difference that made in that paint. And this is pretty good coverage, but I need a second coat. I've got little spots here. Can you see that? Where the paint is a little thin right here? Mm-hmm. There's a couple right here. Over on this side, I can just see a little bit of my primer peeking through. And this is gonna be solved with my second coat. So I've got it all nice and smooth. A little tiny bit of water on my surface. Like, it's probably not even measurable, you guys. It just helps my brush glide. I load my paint a little bit heavier onto the brush. And then same thing, I'm gonna work smaller areas at a time. You don't want to get your paint on into a larger area than you think you can work in the amount of time before your paint starts to set up. If you're trying to work it quickly, you're going to end up with brush strokes, and then you're going to get frustrated. If you work smaller areas, silk lays beautifully. It is smooth, it doesn't require a top coat, and it's durable. If you're questioning whether you need to top coat it, I always tell people, like, make a little scuff mark on it and see. It's incredibly wipeable, but I only know that because I tested it. Do a little test on it, and you know, where you have to wipe it back with a damp cloth or something, and just see it, and you'll be shocked how durable the silk is once it's dry. It's remarkably wipeable. Even though it has a really low matte sheen, silk dries to a really matte finish.
Hey, Erin.
Oh, hey, Erin, how are you? Erin, I haven't seen you on lately. I try to watch you guys, but I just haven't had time. Been super busy lately. And get my drawer sides. I'm only going to do one coat on the bottom, and the reason I'm going to do that is because look at how these drawers fit into the bottom. They fit inside the frame here, so I don't want to add, these aren't very snug. This is not a snug fit. See, I got some wiggle between the body and my drawer, but I don't like to get it too thick on the bottom or the top of my drawer, because if you have a tight frame, it can start rubbing and cause friction. So on places like this underneath, I'll usually just do one coat, because nobody ever sees that. It matches the color fine. And then I just make sure that I get the top of the drawer instead. So that is my second coat on that drawer. I'm gonna come get up here.
Oh, Erin, yes, she made an apron for me.
Oh, you guys see my apron? We're gonna talk about those next. I'm wearing...
It did come up earlier, but you were too busy yapping.
Oh, sorry. I tend to do that. I'm wearing one of the new stencils, you guys.
And what is it?
It's called Tea Towel Floral.
For the lady that guessed it earlier.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got to name this stencil, you guys. And actually, I got to pick the design and name the stencil, but I chose the name. I wish I had it out here because it reminds me of an embroidery pattern. So this is the stencil right here. It reminds me of a vintage embroidery pattern that would be used on a set of tea towels. And so my great grandma used to make them. So I've got a set in my house of, you know, the beautiful colored Jacobean style embroidery. And Sean's mom used to do amazing embroidery too. We've got a few pieces from her too. So that's what inspired this stencil right here. And then when I named it, I was thinking of embroidered tea towels. Right? Isn't that cute? So we got a total of 3 new stencil designs. I'm going to use one on this piece here, and I'll show you guys in a few minutes. We'll get to that step. The other one is called Lotus Bloom. And it has a lotus here, but it's also got this lace kind of drape. The label blocks it, but it's got this lace kind of drape along the bottom. So you could even just use this part here as a trim, like across a drawer front. I love the size of these too. They're the perfect size for like the face of a drawer, drawer sides. Here you can kind of see in the picture how they've used it together.
If you sit still.
Yeah, I'm not very
Maybe you can see in the picture.
I'm not very good at that. I've got the attention span of a 2-year-old. So, and then Tea Towel Floral, which I'm wearing on my apron. And I did this in the Dixie Belle Fall colors. So that's my fall apron. And then Cozy Sweater, which is a knit pattern. It looks like it, when you put this on, it looks like it's a knit weave. And I think we're going to use this one on this piece. Okay, but really quick, I'm going to go ahead and do this drawer here, and then I see some spots I'm going to get up underneath here. This whole thing needs a second coat, but I'm just going to grab just the front really quick. And that way it'll be nice and dry, and then I can move on and do my next steps. Silk tends to dry from the top down. So even though the top of your paint might feel dry, it can still be a little bit soft underneath. It takes about 2 to 4 hours to fully dry. You want to leave that much time in between your coats. And then it's 30 days to fully cure. So before you go doing like heavy use on it or anything, you want to make sure your paint has fully cured. I always recommend light use for that first 30 days on any piece. Light use means, you know, if you want to set something on top of it, you can, but I would not, you know, make sure it's not a bottom that's going to stick if humidity sets in. It can get a little bit tacky while the paint is still curing in temperature and condensation changes. And then don't slide anything across. So those are usually the recommendations I make while your paint is still new. So anyway, I've got to give this whole thing a second coat. I won't go through that all with you guys. No, I want to. I like just laying silk on. It's a beautiful finish. Can you hand me that drawer that's over there next to our child's head? I've got a child over here. I'm going to put you on camera doing that.
Me?
What? This is how my children watch me do my live. Say hi, Logan. No. That's my 7-year-old Logan. There's Logan. Say hi. It's clean down there, kind of. Can you do top coat videos? Amanda, I spray most of my top coats. I have videos on my YouTube channel, but I usually spray my top coats. And not everybody sprays, but I have done videos using a sprayer with them. It's so easy. I usually will line up multiple pieces. I'm probably not on camera anymore.
Oh no, you're giving them the 45-degree angle, so that's cool.
I'm trying to give you guys the best angle. Yeah. I'm abstract. So I will line up, I'll finish like 2 pieces, 3 pieces in a week, and then I'll line them up and just do spray day. It's called spray day. Like we just, you know, so
camera's all over.
Sean helps me a lot with my spraying. I'll tell him like, oh, I just finished 3 pieces this week, and he'll just go, and he can blow through them. That's why, like, I'm slower. Sorry. It takes me longer. I'm a little more, I don't know, cautious about it. Sean's way more comfortable with it than I am. So anyway, go to my YouTube channel. There are videos on spraying. I spray my clear coats. I also have videos on wiping them on with a sponge or brushing, but most of mine are sprayed. All right, you guys, so this is my finished silk finish right here. It's nice and dry. It's super soft. It feels super luxurious, but I want to add some wax to this.
Erin just had a spray night. And you know what's nice is everybody has to stay away while you do it.
Yeah, that's true. But then you have to wear like the whole mask get up and all that.
That's okay.
He usually does it like when the kids are at school. So I just want to bring out, this has great details, including some of this age distressing here that I was telling you guys about, where people were like scraping to get out of the drawer.
Trying to get out, but somehow it's on the outside.
But I want to use some black wax. So I'm just going to use, this is actually a really inexpensive chip brush, and I just cut the tips off, gave it a haircut, and these become actually pretty nice wax brushes. I don't want to do an all over wax. I just want to get into some of these crevices. So now that I've got it on that brush, which has a nice skinny profile, I'm just going to run it. And I'm going to use it all the way on my brush until it starts running out, and then I'll kind of feather it out into my piece. And it's starting to bring out, I'm going to buff this away, it's starting to bring out some of that distressed detailing too. I want all that stuff. I really kind of like it.
So I'm going to go in closer, and then you're going to move.
I'm going to move?
It's just the way this video is going. I try to get all in it, and then you're like, oh yeah, look over here across the room.
You guys hear what I have to deal with? I hear nothing but complaints over here.
From the peanut gallery?
Yes, sir.
This is unsealed paint, and silk takes waxes really well on unsealed paint. Because it has that built-in top coat, it's very wipeable. So I can put these waxes on and wipe them back. And that's usually why you seal your paint before you put on dark waxes, is so you have control. Kind of closes off the paint so it doesn't absorb your waxes. But that's not really required with silk. So this is just, I have my 2 coats. They're nice and dry. I'm just going to kind of shade some of these crevices. But then once I've got my basic layout, I'm going to come back with a rag and I'm going to buff it back. Wax is meant to be buffed into your paint. It's not meant to sit on top of your paint. It's meant to seal it. So if you leave wax sitting on top of your paint, it will, you can, you know, touch it and it will want to pull off the surface. Like if I touch this where I've got excess, it's going to come off because I left excess sitting off the surface.
So do you ever sell pieces before they're fully cured?
I do all the time. Oh gosh, yes. I send them home with care instructions for how to take care of their piece. They get those warnings because anything that I'm going to do here, which is basically like light use for 30 days, they can do light use for 30 days at home. So just give that information, and as long as people know, you know, I've covered myself. They're aware. I've never held my pieces for cure time, and I've never had a problem with it. And that's, I mean, I don't know. I need to count again. I have lost count, but I'm at well over 1,000 pieces at this point. So I'm just coming back and feathering in a little bit of waxes around the edge. I want to kind of I didn't refill my brush. I'm just using the light bit of wax that's already on here.
Joy wants to know what your care sheet is.
I don't have like a copy of it, like a version of it. It's all printed out on like care tags and stuff. But there are plenty. I mean, there's plenty of versions. But basically, any care rules that you would give yourself, you just pass that on to your customer. They can do the same things as long as they're aware. As long as they're aware. But even if it's going in your own home, you want to be aware too. So that's really pretty. Just a little bit of wax. It brought out all of this kind of distressed edging. I'm going to put this in the body so you can see how it looks versus just the flat paint color. It's just going to lightly shade around those edges, just bring out some of the detail that's in this piece. Other than that, I'm going to use my hardware. The only thing I am considering is maybe adding a Would You Bend keyhole here. I just got some, I ran out of keyholes because I love keyholes on everything. And so I have to unpackage it all and find them now. All right, I want to put on these drawer sides, I'm going to decoupage the drawer sides. So we're going to use some of the Dixie Belle decoupage papers. And the one that I chose, actually I'm going to use this piece here. The one that I chose, because I really like it with this color, is this paper here. This one's called Art Deco Bird Pattern. Is that the longest name ever? Art Deco Bird Pattern. Anyway, it has the same color tones in it. That's my Wharf color right here. That's my paint color. Now, as far as putting this paper, this has a dark background. So you want to make sure that whatever you put it over, I recommend putting a dark color underneath the paper. This has a dark wood already, and it's a fairly consistent tone. So if it didn't have this, I would just put a coat of paint on here. It could be coffee bean or caviar, or it could be silk and anchor, or just put a nice color of a coat of a dark color underneath. And then it's going to make, because this paper can get semi-translucent, if you put it over like white, you're going to see the fibers of the paper and you're going to see underneath it. So what I like using for decoupage is satin clear coat. And I get to open a new container. I don't know about you guys, but I get super excited about opening new containers of paint. I order my clear coats in 32 ounces. I order my paint in 16 ounce sizes. This is the 16 ounce. I like that. It takes me, you know, there's 69 colors, so it takes me a lot longer to finish off a 16 ounce, but I use clear coats all the time. And so on clear coats, I order them in the larger size, and I'll go through this pretty quickly. All right, so I'm just gonna get that excess off the lid. I wanna make sure that I stir this. So I'm just gonna use a stir stick. Satin's pretty good. It doesn't settle as much, but flat, clear coat, gloss has some settlement, and gator hide, all of those settle. I just go ahead and stir it. It's a brand new container. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I can see as I'm stirring it, there is some settlement. It's just not as much. I like satin for decoupage over versus like gator hide, because satin has a longer open time. And So it gives me nice workability for putting decoupage paper in. All right, so I trimmed the edge of my paper on this side here, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it over on this side to fit my drawer side. If I need to use a razor knife, I'm just going to score it just using my fingers. And then I'm going to find my razor knife.
Promise?
Oh, here, we'll use this one. I have a white one. Oh, there it is. Or Sean's going to find it. All right, and I'm going to get this nice and straight. This is going to be my last piece from this sheet. I'm just going to cut it right here to the front of this drawer. And then I'm going to slice the bottom of it too. But I'm going to save this little scrap that I'm not going to use because I may need this on another piece that I run. If I run short just like an inch of paper, I always appreciate having scrap pieces of paper. So save your little extra bits of your decoupage paper. This does not have to be a perfect cut because I'm going to sand the edges of this clean once I get this laid. I just want to get rid of this excess so it's not in my way. I'm trying to do this so I'm not blocking the camera, but it's really like the oddest angle to be cutting at. These are super quiet tonight. I feel like I'm just talking a ton.
No, you're just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This.
That's kind of what you have to do with video. Though.
I know. I know. I try to keep the information just flowing, which is probably just nervous chatter. This particular paper, you guys, is currently sold out online, and I thought about that before I showed it to you guys. There are other papers available. There's one called Peony pattern. Peony pattern.
What?
Here, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys which ones are still on there.
Everybody's digging the wharf and digging the...
I know, it's a good combo, right? Okay, so this one is called, I won't even try to say it. Peony. This one's available online still. That's a really pretty paper. And these are huge sheets. This is a quarter of the sheet that's represented here. So when you fold this out, these are nice, big, like poster size sheets. What's the size? 20.
It's like a tarp.
23 by 33 and change. So that one's available, and then this one's also available. This one would be really pretty with silk in like, what's the color like sea glass?
Emily, are you right on this? Phonetically?
Peony?
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 Just want to be
and
sure.
Native Rose. This is the other one I was debating using on the sister piece to this and doing it in bright colors, but I'm going to try to keep them together.
We're going with it. What's the one that you always have a problem with?
Muscadine wine?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and now I'm going to put a base of my satin clear coat underneath this paper. And I give it a nice heavy coat because I want it to kind of saturate my paper from underneath.
All right, Emily, if it's wrong, I know where to find you.
Are you looking at the dictionary?
The what?
The what?
Do our kids even know what a dictionary is? They know what Google is.
On the Wikipedia?
I know what a dictionary is.
So I give it a nice thick coat, and you can tell I like satin clear coat because it also goes on with this kind of blue tint. It will dry clear, but you can tell exactly where you've put it because it's got that kind of tint to it. So once I've got a pretty thick coat on there, I'm going to lay my paper down. I'm going to kind of fold it because I don't want this this back end getting in my wet clear coat before I'm ready. So I press it in, and then I'm going to kind of work my way across the paper.
All right.
You guys, this paper is extremely forgiving. It's super durable. I'll show you from underneath in a second. Let me get this down.
Yeah, let's...
Get ahead of myself.
Let's get that
One thing
done
at a
first.
time, Brandy. My brain's always going a million miles an hour.
Next up.
Why. All right, let me show you guys the underside of this paper. Because you can see, let me find a good spot. It's got these fibers woven into it. It's actually a rice paper. So it's durable. It's not going to tear like a paper napkin. Like, you can be pretty rough with this. I can pull this up and place it back down again if I needed to. It's a very forgiving paper. What I wanted to tell you guys about this design, it will be back. It's coming back. So it came in a smaller quantity because,
wait for it,
our good friend COVID shipping. So it came in a partial quantity, but it will be back. So if you are loving this paper, I'm not teasing you guys with it. It is coming, okay? This one that I'm using, and it looks great with Wharf. So once I've got my paper laid down, I'm coming over the top and I'm just doing a little bit of my satin clear coat back over the top. I actually like to use my hands with this. So I come and I'm gonna like massage that clear coat.
Sounds like you're doing some scratching.
I want it to come up from underneath. I want my clear coat from the top to go into my paper. And this also gets out any air bubbles. If I've got an air bubble anywhere, I will push it out, and you really can feel with your fingers if it's got any areas that you need to work out. And I just work them towards an edge and push that air bubble out if I've got any. This laid pretty well. There's one right there, though.
Hey, Gary, I'm with you. I don't know. I'm just taking everybody else's word for it.
What?
That it's peony.
Peony?
Peony.
Okay. Now that I've got my paper nice and smooth, now I put all my fingers in that clear coat. And now I need to come back and clean up my clear coat. So I just refilled my brush a little bit. And I'm going to brush my clear coat nice and smooth. Now I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'll just sand the edges of this paper right here, and it's going to sand a nice smooth edge. You can do it while the paper's wet, but I find this, because this paper has those fibers in it, it doesn't want to sand as clean while it's wet. It wants to tear a little bit. So I just wait for it to be dry and I'll come back and just sand those edges. So nice smooth clear coat. I got my edge kind of hanging off here. I'll let it dry. And then I can just come and like sand, and that'll just tear right off. So then, set this aside.
Show Logan.
Over here where my son's taking a nap. So let me show you guys what it looks like on the piece itself. Once it's all dry, it's kind of obscured because it's got that clear coat in kind of a blue color over the top. Once that dries clear, you'll see the paper really clearly. And here is what that looks like. When the drawers are pulled out, how pretty is this color with the body color? I mean, I'm loving this. I'm loving this color combination. So I feel like it's got kind of a simple, very manly feeling, and I really want to maintain that. So that's my paper drawer sides. Nice clean edge across the top, and then my body color. It's really pretty. All right, I don't think I have time. I kind of wanted to do it with you guys tonight, but I'm thinking I want to take the cozy sweater and do a raised stencil up the sides, inside of this frame that's on the sides. And I'm choosing cozy sweater because it's that knit pattern, but it's still very like simple. I don't want these to be frilly and girly, and I'm not doing a lot of, you know, like simple. I don't want these to be frilly and girly, and I'm not doing a lot of, you know, I don't know, like ornate details. I like them. This paper feels very masculine to me. It's, it feels very masculine to me. So I'm kind of using, ignore my burn mark right here.
I was just going to ask you, what happened?
I know, I made the mistake of curling my hair yesterday. Yeah, that's what happens. That's why I look like this every day, because when I try to be a girl, I just burn myself.
See, Nevada, I'm with you. It's kind of feminine.
This,
you say masculine.
Yeah? Oh, I totally, maybe it's the coloring in it. I feel it's very William Morris inspired.
I mean, Gary might have that on
there,
in his room, but
I don't know. I really like it. So maybe it's the coloring that I'm pulling the masculine vibe from. But I think with the cozy sweater up the side, it'll keep it nice and clean and simple. So that's where I'm going with these, you guys. But silk and Wharf, I don't know. It's probably my new favorite color, and I don't know why it took me this long to do a piece in Wharf. Let me see. Good job, baby. So my son, you guys, just went my older son Ashton, who just turned 11 this week. You guys say happy birthday to Ashton. You want to come on? Yeah, come here.
Yeah. Let's show them.
You don't have to say anything. He just went and found my, this is the silk fan deck, which has all the colors. They're true to color. And he pulled out the color that was like, that's like sea glass. The name wasn't coming to me. It's Tide Pool. He pulled it out of the fan deck and brought it to me. He pays the most attention to my colors. But here's where I'm going. If I was going to do these same finishes on another piece, I think this would be a pretty combo. This as the drawer sides with the body in Tide Pool would be the same, you know, all the same finishes, all the same techniques, but it's going to have a completely different look. It's going to be more fun, vibrant, kind of a beachy feel, bohemian, all those things. So that would be another combination that you could use these same finishes and get a really cool look.
Hey, Ashton.
What?
348 of our closest friends just said happy birthday.
Yeah, so I think that counts as us throwing you a birthday party.
And we're done.
Yeah, and done. You're such a lucky kid.
Woo!
Mom and Dad throw the best parties. All right, you guys. I was hoping to have time to do that raised stenciling, but there's no way I'm going to have time for it tonight. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that up the side. I'll finish my wax detailing on this once my paint dries. They're really pretty. I think they're going to be pretty. And then I stained the top. I sanded down to raw wood, and it's got, I did a wash of Dixie Belle Coffee Bean over the top on the wood.
And the color of that is Wharf.
Wharf, yes. Silk and Wharf. Here we go. Yeah, it's super pretty.
And then did you mention another color that the paper would be good with?
You could use a whole bunch of colors. What? Here, I'll show you. This is the same paper. This paper that I just used, Art Deco bird pattern. You can check with your local retailer and see if they have any of these in stock. Otherwise, they will be coming back, you guys. And I used Wharf with it, but let's see. Other colors that I would say are Black Sands. So I'll pull that guy out. This is just the silk line. You could definitely put one of the whites with it. Like, let's see, which one of these guys? Do a pure white. It's that salt water. So I don't know, any of these, the grays, dark grays, whites, even this cream color here. It's that Endless Shore.
Oh man, I got multiple. There we go.
So there's a few color options that I think you could pull out of this paper, and any of them would match. Oh, Hampton. Man, my brain's not working. Hampton Olive. I definitely think Hampton Olive works because Hampton Olive leans a little bit green and it pulls out the kind of green and the greenery on here.
Oh, the other paper. Is the print too big for jewelry boxes?
No.
Someone's just asking for a friend. I'll have you guess.
Who shall remain nameless, who paints a lot of jewelry boxes. Maybe a white one recently. Here, Ashton, go get my jewelry box that's sitting on the floor there. I'll show you. Let's open this bad boy up.
Oh, you done did it now.
Scale's important. I mean, that's a good question. Scale is important.
Well, the only scale that's not important is the one I step on in our room. That one sucks.
We can take the batteries out of that one. All right, so this is a jewelry box, just one that I had sitting in the corner of my room. Whoa. Oh, that opens. Hello. Well, number one, you could do about 84 jewelry boxes with just one sheet of this paper. It's huge. See how it opens up? That's just one sheet of the paper. And then, this would be pretty. You could put this pattern up the side. Like that. You can kind of pull out these like
for anybody that was asking for a friend, here you go.
These mandala patterns. I think it would be really pretty. This is a kind of smaller size one. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can lay this. So that kind of gives you an idea. These guys right here, if you were just looking at these, I'm going to call it a mandala.
Oh, here we go.
Mandala.
Oh, we're opening this up for interpretation.
Yeah, whatever. I'm going to brutalize the language, first of all. I went to college, I promise. I have 2 degrees.
That is a speech therapist.
Yeah. It's not an accredited college. It was free online. It was actually a YouTube video.
It's a college in the title.
Yeah, they sent me a certificate. It's fine.
They had me printed on my end, yeah.
But I hung it up, so it's legit. Dang it. So these mandala patterns are a little bit bigger than this jewelry box, but I think even cut off on the edges, it makes sense still. Anyway. Okay, you guys. I put a link above in the post where you can find everything we used on this video tonight.
Including a collegiate degree.
Yeah, and you can get your degree. From Dixie-Belle University. That used to really be a thing, so I shouldn't say that. We use silk. We used the silk all-in-one line from Dixie-Belle, and the color was called Wharf. And then we used a decoupage paper called Art Deco Bird Pattern. That's not on there, but check with your local retailers or it will be coming back online. I promise you it will. But there are some other patterns on there available. You can find both of those online. The new stencils, the 3 new stencils I showed you guys, are also available on there. That's Cozy Sweater, Tea Towel Floral, and then Lotus Bloom. Those 3 are all out right now. These are my new packages.
See, I feel like this is like the rolling credits at the end of a movie.
It is, huh?
Right? Then this is the extra, like...
Yeah, you want to stick around for this part. This is where
grab your popcorn.
Yeah, there's going to be some outtakes after this. And then we use some black wax for detailing. So you can use that link above. I always appreciate purchases that you guys make through there. Those, I earn a small percentage. That's what pays for me to keep coming back week after week for the Brandy show. So if you guys like this show, then otherwise, you can also use that same link to find your local retailer if you want to go in and check out anything we used in person. That's all. I have a video coming out on my YouTube channel tomorrow. So check out my YouTube channel, Brushed by Brandy on YouTube. I do a new tutorial every Friday. And tomorrow I have a full video coming out, so check that out. Otherwise, I'm going to get off, you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend. The fall weather is coming. I'm loving it. Stay safe, and I will catch you guys next Thursday.